Thanks for tuning in. Today's podcast is brought to you by SmartBridge. Managed services is a great way to enhance existing IT capabilities, augment staff, and reduce overall IT management costs. Our certified and experienced team has been providing round-the-clock managed services for over 15 years with a focus on customer experience. Trust the expertise, get peace of mind. More at smartbridge.com.
Welcome back to this edition of Transform IT. I'm your host, Patrick Pauls, joined with
Miraj Jawani.
And here today we are interviewing Brooke, our marketing director. Now, I would like to let Brooke go ahead and introduce herself a little bit and give us some background on her experience and, some things that she's done over the past 10 years.
Hello, everyone. I'm not going to bore you into going into a lot of detail. I'm just here to say that I oversee all of the marketing initiatives, strategy, execution here at SmartBridge, and I'm responsible for trying to make us look appealing enough that people want to do business with us.
Now, on this episode, we were going to talk about marketing and content marketing. But after sitting down with you and discussing a little bit, we decided to change the topic. Can you let us know what we're going to be talking about today?
All right, so I think today we're talking about transforming the marketing profession. What outside influences are happening that are going to cause us to have to kind of change or rethink how we go to market, and what kind of things that we are speculating on the horizon that could seriously affect how we choose to execute projects in relation to how automation and innovation and all those really cool things are occurring out there.
So basically what you're saying is content marketing and traditional content marketing is all old news, and there are lots of new tools and technologies that are coming up that are going to help develop and enhance existing marketing roles, and some way that we can leverage that technology to, I guess, create new mediums and basically broaden the marketing horizon at the same time, making it much easier for you.
Right.
Okay, so digital transformation in the marketing space or scope. Now, to start off with, before we get down into, hey, these are the new trends and some new things that are happening, let's talk a little bit about traditional content marketing and why that's out of date right now.
I wouldn't say it's out of date. I'd say that it's been around for a long time. So I've been, without saying how old I am, I've been doing this since, I guess, 2002 when I was creating weblogs. They were called weblogs on Blogger and Typepad for the organization I worked for. And so content marketing has been around for a long time, and it got to the point of saturation not that, long ago. And now, just doing a webinar or a blog post really isn't enough. You have to think about all the holistic SEO, search engine optimization that goes into it and everything to and be a little more strategic about what you're putting out there to get the right audience. So it's not about it going away or anything changing. I guess the tactics changing. It's more about the way in which you execute those tactics. And
So would you say because businesses are now being forced to digitally transform or adapt to that method, right, or that state of the industry in the world right now, that marketing has to kind of go in tandem to support that?
yes, I would definitely say it's not about what you individually are doing to transform your organization, but it's how you respond to what the key players are changing that shape the world of marketing.
Yeah.
You got, talk about like Google. To me, my world revolves around what Google decides to do every day.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I heard a marketing person once say that they build everything for Google and then they just test in some of the other search engines. Is that true? I'm not asking for, any type of proprietary information, but what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
in general, you build it for Google because Google is Google, and it is the king right now, the king of the hill, and then everyone else just kind of either they get on board or they don't.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty much, it goes without saying. Google turned 20 years old this year, and I think it's kind of really cool thing to think about how a 20-year-old company, that's pretty young, and that's really, considering how long some of the more mature companies have been around.
Yeah.
Compare them to GE or anyone else.
They're
You're
kind of new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 20 years old, and they're dictating how people shop and do business on a consumer level and a business level because of what they decide to present to you and how they create these algorithms and adjust this, use AI to be able to help people figure out what it is that they really want.
You know, that's a pretty interesting sidebar here is I hate the term algorithm. I always have. Coming from a computer science background, you know, one of the things that we always joked about is an algorithm is a way to say that we do a bunch of stuff and not actually say what you're doing or why, just saying that it happens.
Like a widget.
Yeah, it's just in the background. But anyway, so that brings up a pretty interesting point that most of us, it's very inherent for most of us, but Google is a major player and major driving force in marketing and basically everything else. You know, I don't know a single person here or anyone that I've ever talked to that hasn't used Google. And they are basically, like you said, they're the king of the hill. With that being said, Google, even though it's 20 years old and it's a technology company, they're constantly adapting, evolving, and changing, which means if we're building everything out for Google and trying to bring that traffic in, we're going to have to build, adjust, and change based on what Google puts out. So you have your traditional, what you said, SEO, where we have keywords, we put stuff out there, people do searches, we pop up, and that's all well and good. But like you said, that's been the same way for the past like 10, 15, 20 years, fundamentally. Based on your experience, are there any major things that maybe Google or some of their competitors are doing that are going to change the way marketing or content marketing is shaped? And could you explain a little bit about how and what we're doing to adjust to that?
Yeah. What do you think is the future around that?
Sure. So there's a couple of things that are factually that I'm aware of that Google has announced in as early as, I guess, this September 2018. And then there's some speculation, you know, you wonder about how things are going to go. So the things that Google is planning on and has been already have released are around the different ways we search and not just type text anymore. Yeah. So there's the voice search. You've got Amazon Echo and all these things. They've been around for a while now, but the way that they're also doing for the first time, there's Google Speakable. So you're asking Amazon Alexa or somebody about what is the weather like in Spain, and it'll come back with that first news item result, and then it'll send it to your phone. So Google Speakable will zap it to your phone, and so people that run sites that are classified as news have a significant shakeup to make sure that they are that first result. They get two, I guess, hits, right? They get the audible, they say she'll say the source, and then they get the link sent. So there's things like structured data that has to seriously be considered and factored in. Without going into like all crazy technical details and stuff, you're basically doing markup language to make sure to correct so that Google and other voice assistant programs can kind of isolate and identify those very important textual mention, right? So that it'll help you become the first result. Then there's the visual search. Mm-hmm. So they are doing, I think they have a name for it, and it escapes me at the moment. But when you take a picture, like the Amazon app has been doing this for a while, but you take a picture of something, and it should come back with results to like their image search, but of things similar. They're doing a lot of things to make that better.
So basically face recognition with items.
Right, anything, which is crazy. So, of course, they're really doubling down on artificial intelligence and using, I don't know what, those type of silver bullets to help people to better land on search intent. So there's a different variety of types of searches people do, transactional or informational or navigational, like you're trying to find a certain page, all those things. And a lot of times people won't search with granular detail, and so so it's always been a problem you type in a word, just one word keyword. It's really hard to understand what your intention is. So this AI is doing a better job of trying to understand people's search intent without people having to always type in, I need to find this page, or what is the temperature on the moon? You know, like if you just type in moon temperature, it kind of knows what type of search intent you have. So those kind of things, you know, from the perspective of a marketer that is building a website or e-commerce site or all those sort of things, has an effect on how you build your holistic SEO. And holistic SEO means you're focusing on the technical stuff, the things people think of, like the metadata, but then your UX and your UI, security, and PR and social. So you have to be you have to be this skilled on this amazing spectrum of knowledge to just be able to do one product page and successfully and have it come up as the first page result if someone wants to do a visual search or audio search or whatever way, you know. So
how do you go into knowing that? How do you dictate the right strategy around that?
Well, education is your first tool, right? Knowing how Google is not secretive. They're secretive about many things. They're secretive about how their algorithms work, but they're not so secretive about how they want you to be successful. So they have a lot of they have a website out there, you know, with their if you want to do like a markup for structured data, they have the markup language and how you should construct your pages, right? And you just have to constantly be on top of these things and then be really good at creating standard operating procedures for your team and have a you know, create process documents and how to do all these and be consistent. Consistency is the key because Google loves to find patterns in what you're doing and it's consistency and what keywords you use and things of that nature. And then, you know, there's so many tools. We're WordPress people at SmartBridge. So we, a lot of this information I get from Yoast, which if you're a WordPress person, you probably know Yoast as well because they are the leading top people in SEO support and in WordPress. And they just are so knowledgeable. And all the stuff I just talked about with Google, you can go on their website and they actually have all that there. So they didn't pay for that. But
All right. So the takeaways from this point are really, okay, if you want to develop a new strategy, the first thing you need to do, go read what Google says about how to be successful and just follow their directions, basically.
Right.
I'm not saying that that's the only thing that you have to do, but that's the first step in setting yourself up for success.
You have to be diligent. Mm-hmm.
Now, we were just talking about how Google changes all the time, and they're constantly evolving and adapting. How often do they completely refactor this to to the point where you have to go in and you have to start from the ground up and really just change everything you're doing from the SEO?
I seem to feel like there's every couple of years there's something big, and I don't think since 2010 there's been anything where I've had a massively, well, I take that back. There was I guess the last big change that was communicated pretty globally was the mobile first kind of aspect, and that if you don't have a responsive website that you would fall down the rankings. And so they gave you lots of warning for that. And so for some people, if they did not design their site properly, that would have been a rework and retooling. But ever since then, it's kind of been just how can you maybe optimize what's existing there a little bit better. Like we have, I think, a really good SEO strategy, or we're working on some new stuff, but then we can always go back and kind of do some markup language to kind of better do a focus on structured data so that you can do the really cool, that helps you also do those. You know how when you do search results, sometimes you get the search results that have all that extra juicy stuff on it, the images or a little video or all the little sidebar, little navigation things, all that, you know, if you do things right, then you can get all that really sexy spot with all that information right on it. And and if you don't, you know, it's a little, you have to know what you're doing. And there's a lot of people that claim to be SEO specialists out there, and you know, it's I don't know.
All right. So real fast before we move on from that topic. Okay, so we're talking about, you know, every couple years there's some type of major change or development that may require you to either evaluate your strategy or rehash it completely. Now let me ask you this. All the work that you've done over the past several years to develop and, you know, get yourself basically pushed up on that site list all the way towards the top. When they make these changes, does that undo all of the work and obsolete everything that you've already done? Or is this just a new enhancement or a new way to ensure that you stay on the top and you're able to bring in more people with new technology?
Yes, the second one.
Yes, the second one. Okay. So it doesn't obsolete everything, but ultimately
Right.
it does
Some things,
provide
right.
new avenues for development of that
Yeah.
content, and
Creates more work.
it creates more
It
work.
never seems to alleviate. Like when you talk about automation and things in other worlds, sometimes I feel as though marketing doesn't really get that same benefit or perk of what that means. It seems like always is a little bit more work, because back in the day, doing things like optimizing for search was a little simple, and you just dumped a lot of keywords at the bottom of a page. And now it's like you got to think about, how I said holistic SEO and security and performance all play a role in how Google treats your sites. So
with all that, like with that extreme dependency on Google, right? Does it have to be that way, or are there other avenues that you can leverage?
when we're only talking about inbound marketing too, like there's the outbound stuff, there's account-based marketing, there's
Yeah.
all these different disciplines and things that we all focus on, advertising and so forth. I harp on this because we as a company, every company has a very different marketing characteristic. Everyone's a little different, unique, because there's so much out there for us to do. And us, we are focused on, we're not advertising shop. We don't throw ads in online or in magazines and whatnot. We don't do grandiose sponsorships at conferences. We focus on account-based marketing, and we focus on organic marketing. And so if your focus is organic marketing, then yeah, Google is always going to be important. And if you want to balance your go-to-market strategy a little bit better, then you need to make sure and pay attention to some of those other sources out there.
Okay, so at least in general, being that we're a smaller consulting firm, and we're a kind of business to business type of business to business, our organic marketing, or our basically what we do is we try and develop more content marketing than advertisements. So we are more dependent on things like Google and the way they optimize their search engine.
And
And our spots
leads
there than a lot of other people who can
Right.
take out major ads. So we're not going to be, if you're watching the World Series, you're not going to see SmartBridge's name come up on a commercial there. At the same time, our services are provided to basically other businesses, so that's not a sphere we really operate in.
Right. Yeah. And so we have to pay attention. So yeah, there's the first initial discovery of someone doing our job right means that someone finds us, they come, and then we also have to care for what happens next. And so marketing automation tools are the other really significant player in our lives to make sure that we can continue nurturing leads and cultivating them without, we're a very lean team, so we have to be resourceful.
Can you tell us more about marketing automation? I know you brought that up.
Yeah, it's I feel as though it should be called marketing execution, because the term itself makes you think the way that people are hearing about automation now and the trends is that it's something that takes away a lot of your repetitive work and redundancies and things. It's not really the case here. I feel marketing automation is another thing that I feel like hasn't changed much, and it's going to change hopefully really soon, because ever since marketing automation tools have been around, it's always been, you can probably guess without knowing anything about them that they're going to provide they're going to be an email platform. They're going to let you set up scheduled emails like nurtures or campaign automations. They're going to let you score leads, probably integrate with your CRM. Maybe you can do surveys or send SMS messages. And maybe that's about it. I guess that's the major. It all revolves around email and scheduling email. So that's kind of, okay.
Sounds like there's a lot of pieces to like have truly automate it.
It creates more work.
Yeah. There you go.
By having it means you have to do all that work to set it up and control it, monitor it, tweak it, all those things. You're not, the evolution went before those tools really were around and existed. That was back when you as a consumer weren't really getting a ton of emails from all the different businesses you bought from. And hearing from one once a month was probably satisfactory. And now you kind of expect and see like
100 a day now.
All right. There's one clothing store that sends 2 a day, and it's either it's that or nothing. And I don't want to unsubscribe because I don't want to.
You don't want to miss out.
Right. Good sales. But at the same time, slow down. And it's because they just have these tools have allowed that, and not only allowed it, but then it becomes the status quo and mandatory for you to survive and compete against the rest.
You
And
hear
it's
a lot about email marketing, and it's kind of like everywhere.
And it's oversaturating, and so it's like you wonder, okay, what is going to happen to the what is marketing automation going to mean in the future. I know it's going to change.
Do you have an inkling on what that could be?
I don't know. I know I was supposed to give some thought to this, and I just know, all I know is that it can't stay the same.
Yeah.
And so there was this, I know company-wide, we all saw this a while back. There was a Harvard Business Review study that went out about automation in the workplace, and that whole, that scare factor, it's replacing jobs, and how the survey and stuff kind of set the record straight on that. What it meant was it would alleviate a good chunk of everybody's job with the repetitive tasks, and so that it free you up to do the really good, cool stuff. And they took the example of a marketing manager, and that they felt that it could actually alleviate, what was the number? I want to get it correct, but it was something like 10 to 20%, not 20, that sounds crazy, but
10
maybe
to 15,
10 to 15 percent of their job. And and they explained that those kind of things were like selecting vendors, and doing expenses budgeting, doing price comparisons, shopping. And I think that it's just, I don't spend that much time doing that. I don't know. I don't think there's a tool out there that could alleviate that much of my workload every day. I do a lot of creative, so I don't know. I would love for that tool to exist, and I understand and appreciate it coming from a place of helping me do my job better and not replacing me or my
That
team.
should be the end goal, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because marketing automation tools as they exist now are helping me to do my job better, but they also are creating more work for me.
So I have a question around, you said marketing execution, right? Mm-hmm. You spoke about that's what you think it is. What is the right way, or what's a good way to kind of, that you've seen patterns behind it or through your experience?
Why don't you give us a couple of points under, how you could be successful in executing a marketing strategy?
That's a better question.
Especially concerning the changing,
the transformative
landscape and the transformative nature of it. I mean, at least right now, so if you hired on someone to replace you, right? Because you're moving up and up, you won the lottery or something. Because we always have to be positive here. And you were going to say, okay, this is 3 major points for making sure this strategy is executed correctly. What would you say would be 3 guiding points or kind of nuggets of information that you would give them?
Consistency in message is a big one. That kind of helps you establish your brand and place among the world. Mm-hmm. SEO and everything you do, even if you're creating a campaign, a landing page that's supposed to be that you're doing for a sales initiative and you're going to be driving people to it, I don't see why you can't also optimize it for organic growth, because I'm all about efficiency. And if you do one thing, like we will make a video here or do a webinar, we think, how can we save it or recreate it or in a low maintenance kind of way so it can live on in other mediums. So always, take some classes, do the Google Analytics classes, do any SEO classes that you think look legitimate. I guess the third one.
Well, I mean, you kind of touched on that already, at least education, right?
Right. Education is huge. Being attention to detail. The devil is in the details is my thing. That's what I say. Because you can come up with this amazing strategy, but if you execute it with horrible grammar or links that are broken or an email that says one thing, you go to a landing page and it says another, and you're like, I thought I was going to download this white paper. Why? Yeah, it's just not. Everything needs to be holistic, consistent, and detail oriented. Yeah,
it's so that you don't ruin the immersion of the customer or the audience, right? Yeah, that's important.
It does a bunch of things. It makes people feel better. It adds to your validity, your trustworthiness, your brand, and your kind of. And what we have to do is put ourselves out there and establish ourselves as a subject matter expert and thought leaders. And how are you going to do that if you aren't thought leaders or if you aren't subject matter experts in marketing and doing and acknowledging and all those opportunities you have out there and
showing how you do it.
Yeah, and optimizing for them. Yeah.
We've heard the term conversational marketing before.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about that real quick, right?
That's like a subset of automation.
Yeah.
Please don't tell me we're talking about chatbots. Are we talking about those horrible chatbots?
From my understanding, the definition
they
is
save time.
So it's two things. It's chatbots, right? You're talking to some so that you can kind of reduce the amount of human interaction. This is in the world of marketing and customer service. It also means messengers. So more people are wanting to engage with companies on Facebook Messenger and other means. So it doesn't necessarily mean a bot, it could be a human being, but people just want to there's tools now out there. I've experienced it. I've signed up for a giveaway on a Facebook page, and they say, okay, but now is it cool? We message you from and every week I get these messages, and they'll send a link to a blog post, content marketing, or to a sale or something. So, and I'm not really sure if I like it yet or not. It hasn't really worked on me, but and to me, it's kind of funny because I feel like the Microsofts of the world are saying chatbots are the future. You go to any of their big conferences and their keynotes, they show a demo of how a chatbot's working beautifully with someone who beautifully is responding to the bot with punctuation and yes, I would like to know about your model SM-3592, please. Like people actually type like that. Yeah. And it comes back, wonderful, and here's all the details you need. I've dealt with, I won't bash any 3 happened to be in the last 2 weeks personally, and I've not had that experience. So to me, I'm kind of curious. I have no idea if it's the brands behind these guys, the big guys pushing this, saying no, conversational marketing is the way of the future, and it'll just kind of tank, or if this is really happening and it just needs its iron.
So it's a little too early to really know if it's going to be impactful now.
I mean, bots have been around. That little chat with us now on the site, they've been around for a while, but it's just, I think it's, again, the algorithms, the AI behind it, the machine learning and all that fun stuff.
There's a lot of work behind that if you want to do it right.
It needs work. To me, it's slow. It's just as slow as calling them and going through till you get to a real person.
Yeah.
Hey, I will say 2 things. One, it's easier to multitask. I can be doing something productive and dealing with a chatbot instead of waiting on the phone for 30 minutes.
Except for if you're like me and tasking means clicking another tab in your browser and then going off into space with doing and then going, oh gosh, I had that chat over there, and then the guy's like, hello, and then
session ends.
Yeah,
that's like me every week.
Oh my god, that's the worst.
So I mean, the big takeaway.
I'm like, what is that sound? And it's like, oh yeah.
So the big takeaway here though is that chatbots and and that type of messaging systems, it's a technology, it's there, it's kind of been there for a while, but it's an underdeveloped technology that just hasn't been practically and efficiently executed most places that we've tried it yet. So, that's one of those things we talk about, automation and machine learning, and hey, maybe over the next 5 or 7 years they'll do one of 2 things. Either it'll develop to the point where it'll actually be awesome and it'll be effective, or maybe hopefully it'll die and we can focus our energies on something that's a lot more productive for everyone.
Right. Because I personally don't really look forward to trying to incorporate that into our strategy. We're not a big player enough that I think that it warrants any concern at the moment, but it's something I'm keeping an eye on because there's some things like back in the day. So I was marketing before social media was around, and I've held off on doing it for a while. And then personally, I was not interested in having a Facebook account, but then professionally, I realized I had to have one because I had to do this as an online communication specialist at the time. So I was like, I guess I have to do social media now. And then now it's kind of like, if you're not there, as a company, you're suffering for it. So I hope conversational marketing, I don't know how it's going to play out like that.
It's effective, and that's why there's demand for it. So,
all right. So the next major shift in marketing, something that's as, I guess, disruptive as social media marketing is, that's able to change your process and really have an effect. Do you know what that next thing's going to be?
I don't know.
So for now, we have.
Well, I mean, you keep up with a lot, so I'm sure there's something that really sticks out to you.
You know how the 70s and the 80s are cool again?
Yeah.
I think that direct mail will be cool again.
Never.
I'm not talking about your junk that you get every Tuesday, the ads and stuff. I maybe going back.
I got at least like 30 election flyers.
Oh well, yeah, politics. But that's maybe somehow reinventing something old to be new again.
Yeah.
With putting AI behind it, cool thing, right? And then doing, I don't know. I would love to see emails get better, right? So emails still are based on standard old school HTML. Even our Outlook, we use Microsoft Outlook here, doesn't support animated GIFs like Gmail does and stuff. So drives a lot of people like me crazy when you're trying to actually do something inventive.
Yeah.
And email is very stubborn.
So, that's an interesting perspective. So, interactive type of more interactive and more media heavy emails. So it's not just an email with a link or an email with a flyer in it, but we're talking about actual interactive content.
We came up with it. There you go. So we came up with it right here. So interactive emails that you incorporate conversational marketing into, right? You're in the email, you go, oh, this looks cool. Instead of having to click off into a browser, you reply in the email, and then somebody starts talking to you, and you like, and then you do all this stuff without. Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
I think I may have planted a seed, and the crazy mad scientist just kicked off.
Savvy.
Let's make it happen. The last time we came up with an idea, it turned into a podcast. So
That's true.
So. All right, so I think we've covered everything. A couple of the big takeaways here are that Google's still king of the hill. They're the 800-pound gorilla in the room, or king of the hill, whatever you want to say. We're building, and a lot of other people build specifically for Google. Education is key to everything that you do. Chatbots are horrible. I think we're all in agreement on that one.
hey, I love them sometimes. I just forget about them.
And then.
Poor bots.
Generally speaking, that content marketing and marketing in general, the strategy now will change. You'll have to adapt, and this is basically the next big thing. We don't know what's going to catch on. We don't know where's traction's going to be, but eventually you're going to have to adapt and change.
Didn't we have an episode earlier called Adapt or Die?
We did.
Yeah.
I was going to say that may be a shameless plug for one of our other episodes, but I like it.
Well, now you've done
allow it.
Awesome. We really had a great conversation with Brooke Brown. She's our marketing director at SmartBridge again. If you liked the episode, the content that was in it, please go ahead and like and subscribe on social media. Check out our website and our blog. This is Miraj Juwani.
And Patrick Pauls.
Create something exceptional and do something great, guys. See you.